In the barbershop business, if you're into a barbershop, right? Like guys now, with especially beards, things like that, we like to look good too. I can't tell you, my barber sells me so much product. It's ridiculous. I taught him this, and now he sells me stuff. I like putting up fun stuff, right? Beauty comes from the inside of a hair salon. It's true. It's true, So we have to discuss a few things about art and business. Because one of the other things in managing people and, even managing yourself, right? You have to understand that this is business. And most of the people in the salon, especially the stylists, right, are artists. And so it makes it really tough to talk to them about this because they're concentrating on the art, right? Like I look at the book, in a Premier book here, right? How many business classes? The section's like this big, right? And then there's 9 pages of hair trends and hair cycles and things like that. It's because there's so much art to this that you could take the entire conference and do just that. But if you don't work on the business side of it, and you don't implement strategies like this, guess what happens? You don't get to help as many people. And that's a talking point for all of us. The more you concentrate on the business side, and I'm going to make these things really easy, okay? You get to help more people. That's it, all right? If you look at it from that angle versus, oh man, I have to try to push somebody into this, I got to try to get this type of appointment, and you learn to fear it, it becomes a nuisance, and then you don't get to help as many people. Somebody doesn't rebook with you because they just don't, right? And you didn't get them to. And they go too long without getting a haircut, and they go to an event because they couldn't get in your book. Like, things like that happen. And you don't want that because you care enough about your customer. That's the beauty of the industry, right? So we want to make sure that we're not all the way Mr. Wonderful, where it's all about the money. You guys watch Shark Tank? All right? Everyone watch Shark Tank? And then it is about the art, because you do want to make people feel good. So that's another talking point for you to de-elevate what we're talking about here, okay? How do we book second appointments? What's a strategy on how to book second appointments, okay? And the first thing, see that quote, the thoughts in your head are not reality? About 3.5 years ago, I was going through some tough times, not just in the business, in my personal life, okay? And my dad, I called him up, right? I called my parents, I called up my dad, and he's like, David, the thoughts in your head are not reality. I was like, all right, old man, you're like the monkey from Lion King, right? Right? And he's just talking like, what are you talking about? And he kept saying it over and over and over. And my dad worked, he was the top salesperson for Pepsi Cola in one of the smallest markets. And he's my hero. So I was like, all right, whatever you say, it can't get any worse than what I'm at right now, so I'll give it a shot. The next day, went to work, and I realized to myself, I kept selling myself stuff that wasn't true. Don't walk into there. Don't talk to them. They're just going to say no. Don't listen to, you don't need to listen to that podcast because it's not going to be informative. You don't need to turn in the application to speak Orlando Premier because no one's going to show up, right? Those were things going through my head. And what happens in stylists' head is they go, you know what? I'm not comfortable asking because they're probably not going to rebook. I'm not going to tell them what this product is because I don't want them to think that I'm just a pushy salesperson, right? Keep saying it over and over to yourself and to them. The thoughts in your head are not reality. The thoughts in your head are not reality. If you ask them, or if you tell them when they should book, they will. If you know what you're talking about, they will listen. You have the most powerful thing that all of us in sales dream of, and that's trust. The person sitting in your chair trusts you with the most valuable thing to them other than their family, and that's how they appear to the rest of the world. The fact that you have that means that you now have an obligation to that customer to tell them when they should rebook. I don't think I'm saying anything that is, at least to me, it seems like common sense, but a lot of people don't do it because you've got to keep talking this way. You've got to keep instilling it. You've got to keep driving it home. How many people have regular staff meetings? Half the room, right? Not even half the room, right? Even if you're by yourself, you have a regular standing staff meeting for yourself once a month. Once a month at least, okay? Because you've got to continue driving home this conversation. It's going to be rough at first to instill this culture. And people are going to get a little scared, right? And some people are going to quit. And by quit, I mean not try it, not do it, right? And that's going to happen. So from now on, when somebody's sitting in the chair, we are going to tell them when to rebook. Period. There's no secret to it. There's no tricks. There's no gimmicks. There's no hacks to it. You tell them when they should rebook, right? How often should, regular haircut for a woman be on regular, not blonde, all the other stuff? How long should they go between it?
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks, right? Pretty typical?
Yep.
Right? Okay. When they're sitting in your chair at that time, guess what the best time for them to rebook is? At that time. It's the same thing. This in sales is easy. We know what's happening before it happens. I know when someone's going to rebook. We know when to rebook because they're sitting there right now. Right? Kind of obvious. But, you get the artistic side starts going in your head a little bit. How we start the process matters. So I started as an entrepreneur about 6 years ago. Bought my first franchise and I've worked and sold and done all kinds of things to be what is now, I'm a multi-unit franchise owner in our system. I've won franchise of the year multiple years in a row. I have been in Salon Today magazine for my work with salons because what we do and helping salons has become notoriety. I won Entrepreneur Source Client of the Year, which is the top business in the entire country for a company called Entrepreneur Source that sells franchises. And basically what I've done is I've been able to build that business and build up what I do based on the fact that I'm very real with people. I'm very honest, very open. I like to have a good time. I like to have a lot of fun. For me, it's about helping people and helping business owners like I've done for myself. Rochelle right there, the lady with the phone on me, she's in our system too. She can tell you that what I say is just genuine. And if you need anything, just ask, okay? So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about how to get, book second appointments, how to sell more retail for yourself and implement that strategy for your staff, right? And create a culture so that people want to come back and you have a good, vibrant book of business. And, what happened was, how I got to this process and how I developed it was, I was representing a salon, okay? And we put data and tracking in all of our marketing. So what I did was, they called me up and like, Dave, we got these people coming in, but nobody's coming, we don't see them coming back, and, we don't know what's happening. And I'm like, well, that can't be right. I've been in your salon, it's clean, it's nice, there's people in there smiling, right? So let's take a look at what happens, because we actually track the people that we walk in the door. And so I actually took their list of people that have walked in the door, and I said, listen, let's take a look at it. And I found one in particular that hit me really, really hard. And so I actually saw this lady's name in their Yelp reviews. And she just bashed me, right? She had a genuinely bad experience. And it was about 3 years before we started working together. We were actually able to walk that person back in the door. They had moved back in the area, came into the salon, right? And then there's another Yelp review saying just about the same thing. But now, because we were in the point of sale system, guess what happened? It was the same exact stylist. It was the same stylist that had messed up before, that sat down, that had a chance to win a customer, a repeat loyal customer, and messed it up again, right? And I said, well, this can't be right. This can't be something that happens in their salon. She goes, well, I don't know what to do. So I told her, we got two options, right? You keep going the way you're going and teaching these salons, and or running your salon and teaching your people this stuff, and we separate. I'm not going to walk people in. You can't keep them, or I'll help you. And so I came up with, I go into the salons and I teach the stylists how to book second appointments, right? How to sell retail, how to grow their profits, how to grow their book of business, right? Does that sound like something that is beneficial to a lot of stylists, a lot of salons, a lot of owners? Even if you are by yourself, right? It's still beneficial to have, because when you're by yourself and you don't have a team and the marketing dollars, you got to really make sure, you're shaking your head, right? You got to really make sure that you're concentrating on these things. By the way, if you're on Twitter, how many of you are on Twitter? Right? So it's okay. This guy right here, Steve Dresser, was hilarious. Right? He says some of the funny stuff, right? Hairdressers can eat lunch, check their email, call 2 clients, text 3 clients, and use the bathroom in 7 minutes. Right?
That's true.
Right? I love following him, man. And so one of the things that you have to really know where it comes from is what's in your culture, right? What's in your mentality how you do this. I might not be able to talk about ash and toner and be able to, I don't do that part. I love this industry because you have an industry that takes the way people look, right, and makes them feel a certain way. Like, somebody could walk out of a salon and really feel good, right? And that's what most people try to shoot for. I mean, when you're working with somebody, right, when they leave the chair, how do you want them to feel? Amazing, right? And so the conversation has to be that at all times. Because if you are just sitting behind a chair trying to upsell somebody product just to make money, it comes across really, really bad. And people can figure it out really, really quick, right? Anybody ever been across from somebody that does that? Like this one? All right, so if you understand that the way that you're coming across and the theory behind what you're doing, that's what you have to instill first. Why we do what we do. That's the easiest part. We want to make people feel good. We want people to leave here extremely happy. We want you to just broke up with your boyfriend and you came in the salon and want to feel pretty and you're at the bar that night and 8 dudes hit on you, right? Like, we want you to feel good. I mean, this industry is amazing because, like, my barber, look at, like, this is awesome. The fact that he can make me look like this makes me feel good, right? And that's the industry, and that's the theory of what it is to be here, right? Make sense? Everybody agree? I've heard this from your stylists, right? Right? This is interactive. We're okay. All right. So the reason that they don't want to is because of what the experiences that they've had. So what we're going to do is we're going to transition that. Listen, we hate salespeople because they're pushy, right? They lie. They lie. I feel so crushed when I hear stories of how people were lied to. Right? Because that's not a good representation of salespeople. I love, probably, speaking, things like that. I'm a toot my horn. I'm an incredible salesperson, right? But I'll tell you what makes me really good at it in a second. They want to push us into buying when we're not ready, right? And they don't ask us. Like, they don't personalize it at all. And then they don't leave us alone. I'm like, oh my gosh, man. I own a business, and I'm sure all of you have had this, right? How many times has a telemarketer lit up your phone, right? And it's like the same company. And you tell them, no, listen, no thank you, I'm good. Like, I really appreciate you calling me, and you try to be nice. And then like 3 days later, somebody from the same company calls you up. And you're like, oh my gosh. Or that same person goes, well, maybe you're ready now. No, right? That's annoying, right? So we have to make sure when we're doing these things that when we're talking to the people in our companies, in our place, that this is not what we're doing. What we're doing right there in sales, that's called, removing the wall. Okay? So what you're doing is you're taking away that rebuttal from the staff. Right? They can't say that you're making them a pushy salesman because you just said, I'm not turning you into a pushy salesperson. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. This is what makes sales awesome. And when we're talking about this, right, and it's not just sales, it's talking about the whole thing, okay? We're only doing things that help people. We all agreed earlier that what in the salons and in our things that we do, we help people, period. And we come from that mentality, that's what makes it okay. So in your head, you have permission now to talk about the things you want to talk about with your customers and instill that into your stylists because we already agreed it's okay. Does that make sense? We solve an issue, right? Somebody's having an issue, right? People come to me, Dave, I need more customers. All right, let's talk about that, right? It's easy. This third one is a little tough for people. Okay? You have to actually care. You have to actually care. If you don't care about the person sitting in your chair, I don't care if you follow the other stuff, that it doesn't ever work. All right? Aligning expectations. You've heard me doing it like a few times, right? Is that fair? Is that good? Right? So you have to make sure that you're all on the same page. It's really that simple, all right? And don't lie. Please don't ever lie to customers. Short-term gain is never good, right? So I made it relational and not transactional. What happens to many stylists is somebody sits down in the chair, right? I watch half the salon take over, so you're supposed to be like touching the hair, and right? You want to see what their hair is like, if it's damaged, things like that. And what's the first question that people typically ask? Oh, what are we getting to today? What kind of cut are you looking for today? You know, what are we doing today, right? I'm gonna challenge you to ask a different question. I want you to simply ask how their day's going. Why? People do business with people they like. People do business with people like them, right? I guarantee you have a lot of commonalities with a lot of people that sit down in your chairs. Guarantee you. You will find common talking points. You got plenty of time with them. But by asking when or how their day was going versus what they want, makes it a relationship, right? It just makes it a relationship versus a transaction. Right? You're not going to, the supermarket and buying bananas here. We're controlling the way people look in the world. So if you want to really get good feedback and you want to really impact somebody's life, start making it. So I'm going to give you the story of a dry cleaner that I have. All right? Because on the marketing I serve it, and it applies. Okay? Dry cleaner has a customer for about 10 years. He knows that customer's first name when he walks in. Hey, Stan, what's going on? How you doing? He messes up that guy's $2,000 suit. Right? What do you think the customer's first reaction is? Hey, that's all right, man. That's okay, right? She's like, no, hey, that's okay, right? Hey, you know what? I messed up. I'll take care of it. Why? Because he made that entire time, that entire process with him, relational and not transactional. It's a really key component, especially starting off, when you're training people and when you're talking to people, okay? I do know that you are all like therapists. I know people love to sit in your chair and talk, and if you could create that relationship, they'll probably talk through the entire appointment about what's happening in their life, and then not to date their brother-in-law, right? We talked about this a little bit, but when you're booking a second appointment, really, you want to think like the dentist.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Absolutely.
I have my tablet right in my station. Let's get this taken care of.
100% right in there. Tell them when to do it, have it ready to go, boom. I do this talk for salons and I help salon owners. This isn't like, all I'm doing is giving you the permission to do it and giving you the know-how and the confidence, right? Because if you go through this process, you will grow. I'm gonna show you something here in a minute, okay? My dentist makes me fill out a card before I even leave. Your key now and your challenge now is before that person walks out the front door or gets out of your chair, they're in the book. Right? If you don't do a book, they know when they should be coming back, period. Okay? Right? Agreed?
Yes.
Agreed?
Yes.
Right? Fair? Use the word fair with your significant other. That's called a verbal contract. Don't use that in your salon. Use that with your significant other. Right? You say something that you want and things that you think they want, and then say fair and watch them go like this. You got it. You're good. All right? There's one for you. That's a free one. All right? Make sure you have a really great relationship with your front desk, because they will become really big with this. Too many times in salons, I've seen the stylists just completely mess up the front desk and bash them, and hate on them, and kind of make sure you have a good relationship, because if you're in a time crunch, they need to book it. If they know that you're on board with this process and they understand this process, they can do some wonders in your book. Okay? Tons of times I walk into salons and I see this. I'm like, how in the heck can you believe in all that product? Right? If you don't believe in the product you sell, you're done. Right? Like, don't even try. Seriously, if you don't believe in the product, if you work at a salon and you don't believe in the product, you seriously need to have a conversation with the owner, right? And the owner has their responsibility to make sure that they're doing what's right for their business, and you got to really have that conversation. I've had to like mediate and help people have those conversations, because that's too much overhead. You can't make money doing that for a salon owner. right? Yeah, and you can't do it one-on-one. You can't give every stylist what they want. Why you carry them? So what do you think stylists say to me about the number one objection that their customer has to why they don't buy product? There's a couple of ways to do this. Why should they buy from you and not Amazon? I support this model right here. This is what I use on you, right? Because I support this. Amazon can't support their product, right? I can't fix anything for you if something happens. Remember, if we're leveraging the trust of these people, right? Then we have to make sure that we're now taking on that responsibility. And that's the shift. That's how the mental focus works. If you can shift their mentality into it, right? Oh my gosh, if I just say that I'm really helping people, right? Holy crap. They will sell more product. It will happen. You believe in it, and you tell people what's going on, they will do it. It really is amazing, right? I like this one. Like, this is one you can use, right? It's called Cheap, Fast, Good. You get to pick two. You don't get all three at one time. Auto repair places are great for this, right? And then my last one, people tell me about price, right? I just tell them I gotta eat. I gotta eat. Like, we don't do this for, it's not a non-profit salon, right? And look at me, I like to eat. So we have to make sure that we're upfront honest, okay? Now, if somebody continues to not book second appointments and not buy retail, things like that, the question you have to ask, is that really the customer you want in the chair? Okay? And I know that sometimes that's hard, but is that really the person you want sitting there? Right? So they asked me, last class I did yesterday, they asked me, what would you do if somebody didn't want to book a second appointment, and you knew that I would take the next 5 people that walked in that day and book that slot that person should have booked. So when they call in, hey, it's booked, right? See, it's all good fun stuff. So what do? How do we incentivize this in our staff and with ourselves? I just created a contest. I was in sales, I'm extremely competitive, right? I threw a little cash. I'm not kidding, I threw $50 as a prize. I ran a 3-month contest in the salon. And this is what happened. All these girls were basically new, right? They didn't have any guys in the salon. They're basically new. One had been doing it for a really long time. So here's what you do. You create it's a 3-month contest, okay? You put down the names of everybody, how many pre-books they do, and how much retail they sell for the months. You write out the months, just like they did, okay? You see the difference? So it's 3 months. The deal is, there's two things. The person who books the most pre-books, right? The person who sells the most retail. Catch. They can't do it after they leave. It has to be done before the customer leaves. Has to be done, right?
Behind the chair.
Behind the chair, at the front desk. I stop them before. Wait, you didn't book. Yeah, it's happened, right? It happens. This contest, it's simple. It really is simple. You know, I mean, if you do something like that, like this, okay? You do something like this and put it in your, color room or your, the employee room, or just put it up for yourself. Like, if you're by yourself, put it up there and challenge yourself to do it better the next month. Just put it against yourself. I know you know a couple other people that are doing it solo too. Challenge them. Give them this process. And tell them, I went to Orlando, this is what I got. We're doing this together. Me against you. I'm putting up 20, you put up 20. Right? It's okay, you're helping people. So I'll give you a couple cool stories. Remember I talked about how a new stylist will say, oh, I don't know about this. I feel like a pushy salesperson. This is crazy. You're trying to turn us into salespeople and like used car salespeople, right? Remember I told you about that person and how I knew that? That's her. Guess who won the contest? Every time. Every time I do this, the person that feels that way wins the contest, right? Because and the statement she made to me, she's like, the first time it was really uncomfortable, David, I'm gonna be honest with you. I said, I know. Because the second time it was a little less uncomfortable. She goes, the third time, somebody booked 5 appointments in a row because we went through the schedule. I knew what was going on. They were going to a wedding. They had a baby shower. We put 5 appointments in the book. Raise your hand if you would love if somebody put 5 appointments in the book and kept them. If you don't raise your hand, there's other rules, right? Like seriously, it's these type of things really happen. You just have to push it. You have to really constantly keep educating them that the thoughts in their head are not reality, that it's okay because you care. The more people you help, right, the better your book gets. The better you are, the better your salon runs, the more you make. You could actually, so my barber, right, started doing this, his book's filling up. He goes, Dave, I might not have any spots left. What do? You raise your prices and you weed out the bottom people. How many of you would love to have that issue? Right? This gets you there. Things like this. And there are things that everybody's talked about, right? Things that everybody kind of knows, but don't do because they don't understand that you just have to break down the walls. You got to just tell your staff, get yourself in your brain that the thoughts in your head are not reality, right? I took something that came really personal to me and just applied it. Right? This is an industry I love too, even though I'm not behind the chair. I service salon owners. I watch the grind. I watch the things people go through. This helps. It creates a long-term effect. Short-term, it's going to suck a little bit. Sorry. Right? You might lose a couple customers. You might lose a little staff. Managers, owners, right? Okay. You tell your staff, you tell somebody that's looking to work for you, you tell them that you do this. If they go, right? Stand up, thank you for your time. They go, oh, that actually seems really cool. All right, let's keep talking. Right? It works. A little tough, man, because when you get put in that spot when that chair is empty, and you just got to get somebody in there. It gets a little tough, but I promise you, it pays off in the long run. Does anybody have any questions here? I got about 10, 15 minutes before I give you guys something. Anybody have any questions? Shoot.
Okay, so I'm a senior stylist in my salon. I've come to your class today more for the retail side of it. I've kind of established the pre-booking and everything. We work with a private label because my boss doesn't believe in selling products that everybody can buy on Amazon.
Right.
The problem with that is we don't have the backup for people to believe that it's a good product. So each and every one of us have difficulty selling something that's actually very good. And I'm just trying to connect the gaps on how we can get that in their minds and believe that this is something, we have our own label on it. It's very simple and clean, but it's not like the flashy stuff like big sexy hair that some people like, It's good product. We've met with the scientists who make it. It's a really awesome, but most people don't want it. They don't want it because it's not what's out there, what's trending. So that's where I'm having the gap of, I work really hard, I have great clients, but they want, we want Kerastase, we want, we want Goldwell, we want this, we want this. Well, we're not selling that. So it's kind of, I get to that point where I don't know, now I've had these clients for 3-4 years where they don't want to buy the product, and I feel like I've lost that gap on how I can get them to start buying product now.
Sample bottles.
We do. We have travel size. And we do the retail competitions with the whiteboard. Like we've all done that, but we still can't get them to believe that it's a good product.
So using the sample bottles?
It's from Signature Formulations. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. It's a very small private label.
Here's what I would do in your scenario. Sample bottles, obviously, right? Like I would give them out to all my clients and staff, things like that, right? Well, sometimes what happens is people bash the competition versus sell what they're selling, right? So I would simply say, like Big Sexy Hair does well, right? And I see what it's doing. This is what this does for you. And you really personalize it. And you got to remember, when you're in that position, as long as you understand that you're reversing a habit, it takes a little bit longer, right? It just takes a little bit longer. I would send them home and say, just use this for the next 4 or 5 days, watch and see what happens, and let me know when you're in what you think, right? Just things like that. You want them to answer questions, but you're trying to reverse a habit.
Yeah.
Okay, so it just takes a little bit longer.
And that goes with, I wish the girls were with me, but that goes with everybody. And everybody's just very, we have awesome loyal clients, but they're just super lax on the product.
Give extra points on the retail side, right? Give extra points when they sell that product, right? Give extra points, right? If you give out a sample bottle, give a point, right? Like start getting them in that habit. It'll push it through your clientele base, and it'll then start to condition them. Because really, that's the hardest thing in the world is to reverse a habit. Yeah, it really is. right? And I genuinely, like from the bottom of my heart, just appreciate you taking the time to show up here. This is freaking incredible for me. You know, I probably gained more out of this than you may have. And you know, what you all do and the artist that you are, I hope that this just helps you build a bang book of business. And that's what I'm all about.